好，感谢。
So, thanks for watching. Next, I would like to invite the Vice Governor of Xinjiang People's Government, Mr. Jiala Ishamu, to give us keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen and friends, welcome to the briefing. Xinjiang is a wonderful land. Hereby, on behalf of the People's Government of Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, I'd like to express a warm welcome and best regards to all of you. Next, I'd like to introduce you about Xinjiang stability and development. Located on China's northwest border, Xinjiang has been a multi-ethnic place with diverse cultures converging and different religions coexisting. It is an important passage for exchanges between East and Western civilizations, as well as a hub along the Silk Road and a core area of the Silk Road economic belt. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, under strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, we have earnestly carried out the CPC's strategy on governing Xinjiang in the new era, pursue a people-centered development philosophy, and taking people's aspiration for a better life as a goal of our work. Xinjiang has already boosted economic development and people's improvements of life. I've got a lot of fruits. So, Xinjiang has been presented with social stability, being well maintained, the people living and working in peace and contentment. And people's senses of fulfillment, happiness, and security across the region has been strengthened. Overall social stability has been maintained and improved. Over the past period of time, when we mention Xinjiang, we said that Xinjiang is a wonderful land. But in the past time, Xinjiang had suffered a lot from violent terrorism, ethnic separatism, and religious extremism. Especially from 1990s to 2016, separatists, terrorists, and extremists at home and abroad committed thousands of violent terrorist attacks in Xinjiang, resulting in the deaths of a large number of innocent people and immeasurable property losses. Facing grave and complex counterterrorism circumstances, as well as the pressing anti-terrorism desire and the call for protection of safety of life and property of people of all ethnic groups, Xinjiang has upheld the rule of law, draw upon international community's counterterrorism experience and practices, actively implemented United Nations Global Counterterrorism Strategy and the UN Action Plan to prevent violent extremism. Xinjiang attaches equal importance to striking hard at violent terrorist crimes and prevent further such attacks by addressing the root causes through improving people's livelihood, strengthening legal publicity and education, and establishing vocational education and training centers in accordance with law to help and rehabilitate the trainees. We have made utmost efforts to eradicate the soil and conditions for breeding terrorism and religious extremism, and protect people's basic rights from being terrorism and religious extremism. So far, there has been no violent terrorist attacks for more than 4 years in a row, realizing all ethnic groups' aspiration for peace and stability. High-quality economic development has been achieved, but adhering to the overall principle of making progress while maintaining stability, we base our work on new development phase, implement new development philosophy, and build new development paradigm, and has maintained steady and sound economic development. Our comprehensive economic capacity has been improved. During the 30th five-year plan, that is 2016 to 2020, Xinjiang's regional GDP increased from 930.69 billion yuan to 1.3 trillion yuan. In 2020, the per capita disposable income of urban residents in Xinjiang reached 34,000 yuan, 2.4 times that of 2010. And that of rural residents registered 40,000 yuan, 2.82 times that of 2010. The first quarter of 2021, Xinjiang local GDP amounted to 340 billion yuan, which is up to 12.1%. And also livelihood improvements spending accounting for 60.7% in total fiscal spending. The urban disposable income amounts to 9,226 yuan, up 6.2%. The rural disposable income is 1,946 yuan, up 30%. By upholding the green concept development, we prohibit any highly polluted programs to Xinjiang, and energy consumption and pollutant emissions have been decreased. In Xinjiang, the local prefectural level, the good air quality day has been increased from 72.7% to 75.4%. Important river, the water quality of good containment has reached to 98%. Forest cover rates have increased from 2050 4.7% to 2020 years 5.02%. The grassland restoration have been recovered, obviously, and receding trend has been contained. And the Kokoya project in Aksu has been a representative example of desertification control. A prosperous Xinjiang with lucid water and lush mountain is presented to you. And we will strengthen our exchanges and opening up activities. Relying on state preferential policies, such as 5-year exemption of corporate income tax, we have upgraded and a lot of ports of Horgos and Kashgar into the main two sporting points and innovative development demo areas. Making use of the 19 national open ports, we have boosted Xinjiang's geographical and resources advantages into economic advantages. In past years, more than 4,200 China-Europe freight trains pass through Xinjiang to 19 Eurasia countries and 26 cities, forming a multi-destination and multi-direction transportation network. And the steel team has running fast in the Belt and Road Initiative, which have delivered tangible benefits to people along the railways. Especially in 2020 years, with the impact of the pandemic, we still make progress. And the China-Europe freight train is amounted to about 1,105. That's becoming an important channel of life and a belt of destiny for the medical supplies to combat economy. It is an important way to show our mutual assistance and a destiny for common humankind. And also, it has played an important role in protecting people's life and health along the Belt and Road Initiative. There's also a huge improvement of urban and rural landscape. In recent years, Xinjiang increasing the effective investment with a batch of traffic and water conservancy projects being put into operation, which is a vigorous support of economic support and changes the landscape of rural and city areas. We have stepped up building a three-dimensional transportation with interconnected network within Xinjiang and faster travel for going in and out of the region. Total railway mileage in operation amounts to 7,473 kilometers, connecting all prefecture-level cities. The first of metro in Urumqi have been put into operation. And Urumqi has already been into the area of metro. The highway stretch a total of 210,000 kilometers. Prefecture-level cities and 75 counties have got access to highways. Civil airports total 22, ranking Xinjiang the top among all provinces in China. Centered with Urumqi's international airport and supported by other airports, the Airway Silk Road is taking shape. We speed up the water conservancy project infrastructure and we constructed Artash, Kalabit, Jing, and Spash, 18 medium and large-sized reservoir, and the total capacity of reservoir up to 23 million cubic meters, and increased to 3.5 meters cubic meters within 5 years. We also increased the cost-effective irrigation with 11.5 million mu, especially the Yirchang, the key river conservative project. And we have prevented the Yirchang river's flood from the root causes and bringing benefits to more than 2.4 million people along the river. We have already speed up the urbanization and new rural construction. At Urumqi and Kashgar, a new batch of urban landscape have been changed. And rural and city, curiosity of the city has been improved, with the city resident population have improved from 47 in 2050 to 52.4% in 2020. 5 years in a row, we have constructed rural housing project, 1.16 million households, and urban housing project housing, 1.29 million. Revamp of the rundown area houses amounts to 1.12 million. More than 10,000 of people have been relocated to new areas. And all administrative villages have got access to good roads, the coaches, electricity, and broadband. In the previous time, Xinjiang people's mud houses and roads had already gone, and it will be in history. We have made comprehensive victory in the fight against poverty. Xinjiang was a contiguous destitute area. In recent years, we have carried out the basic strategy of targeted poverty alleviation, focusing on ensuring that poverty-stricken people no longer have to worry about food and clothing. And we also got subsidized in ecology and also relocation, and try to guarantee people's poverty alleviation measures. And we will win the battle of poverty alleviation and try our best to get over the deep impoverished area. Now, under the current standard, 3.6 million rural impoverished people on the current poverty line have been lifted out of poverty, and 3,666 villages and 35 counties have been removed from the poverty list. And all the people have been provided with adequate food and clothing and access to compulsory education, basic medical services, and safe housing. A dynamic record has been set to ensure that all people have get the insurance. And we have made up the shortboard in drinking water safety and safe housing, completed task of rural drinking water safety project and dilapidated house renovation. Over the 5 years, we have solved improved drinking water safety problems for a total of 1.51 million poverty-stricken people, with all impoverished people having got access to safe drinking water. The history of living in dilapidated houses has ended for the impoverished. The problem's absolute poverty lasting thousands of years in absolutely lasting thousands of years in Xinjiang has been solved historically. The people's livelihood has made a remarkable improvement. We adhere to putting people's benefit first and allocate over 70% of public financial budget to ensuring and improving people's livelihoods. So as to make more development achievements benefit people of all ethnic groups in a fairer manner. With integration of urban-rural education, 9-year compulsory education has reached full coverage nationwide, and so has a 15-year free education in southern Xinjiang. In 2020, all the 1.56 million and 4 to 6-year-old preschool children in rural areas across the region went to the kindergartens for free. We provide free annual physical examination for urban and rural residents. Those with rural household registration enjoy the right of payments after treatment and one-stop settlement. 3-tiered medical security system consists of basic medical insurance, critical illness insurance, and medical relief is upgraded, safeguarding people's health and access to basic medical service with government subsidy. We have vigorously implemented a universal participation of social insurance program. The basic endowment insurance has covered 13.11 million. The participation rates of basic medical insurance and serious illness insurance have both reached 99.71%. The personal accident injury insurance has achieved full coverage, and the minimum living allowance has covered all eligible urban and rural residents. Through this project for the benefit of the people, we have provided our people with better access to kindergarten, schools, jobs, medical services, old age care, safe housing, assistance and support, and all ethnic groups are living an increasingly better life. We firmly practice the regional ethnic autonomy and vigor promote solidarity, prosperity, and development of all ethnic groups. We have made earnest efforts in guaranteeing all ethnic groups equal rights to participation and administration of national affairs. The autonomous regional governor, prefecture level, and heads of autonomous counties are all served by members from the ethnic group exercising regional autonomy in the area. We have extensively carried out the Family of Ethnic Unity campaign and other programs for enhancing ethnic unity and solidarity. Some 1.1 million officials and SOE workers have paired up with more than 1.6 million people in grassroots communities. According to statistics, since 2060, under relevant programs, officials have donated more than 1.08 billion yuan and 5,590 goods to grassroots residents, with more than 22.74 million difficulties addressed. The campaign has been heartily supported and held by people of all ethnic groups. Religious harmony has been promoted. We have fully implemented the party's policies of freedom of religious belief and protect normal religious activities and demands for believers in accordance with law. The conditions of venues for religious activities have been improved greatly in Xinjiang, offering great convenience for believers. Currently, there are 10 religious schools in Xinjiang, including 8 branches. The Xinjiang Islamic Institute, and they recruit about 1,000 students every year. We got a complete talents education system. The Korean and Uyghur and Kazakh has been published. Buharisari and Bohakari have been translated and published. With more people can guarantee religious knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen and friends, what Xinjiang has done is totally open and above board. We aim at nothing but benefiting people of all ethnic groups in the region. But recently, the former State of Secretary Pompeo and other anti-China politicians, BBC, the anti-China media, and the German anti-China scholar Adrian Zenz, the so-called scholars, they turned a blind eye to the fact that Xinjiang people are living a good life, crossing every line, and their stigmatization and demonization to Xinjiang has no factual basis and makes no sense. They even cook up genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang. This is the biggest line of the century. It is so ridiculous that it can be the largest smear in human history. They falsely claim that Xinjiang set up concentration camps to detain Uyghur people, and some Uyghur are removed their kidney, liver, and other organs. They were subject to sexual harassment and even to death, which is really blackened to the education training center. Actually, the Xinjiang Vocational Training Education Center is a school. All the trainees here will have a free living and accommodation. Their personal dignity is invaluable. Their personal freedom and freedom of correspondence, religious freedom, and right to use the spoken written languages are protected in accordance with the law. We also set up clinics to guarantee their safety and health. Are there any concentration camps like this in the world? They forcefully claim that Xinjiang exists forced labor, say that ethnic minorities were forced by the government to work in other parts of China and pick cottons in the field. Actually, workers of all ethnic groups in Xinjiang will choose their careers voluntarily. According to the labor law of People's Republic of China, with the principles of equality and voluntariness, they sign the labor contract with companies and get their income. In choosing their career, they also enjoy freedom. Whether in Xinjiang or other provinces, they still get the right to labor, religious belief, ethnic minority cultures, and use of languages. Their rights are totally protected. There's no such a thing like be forced to labor. They falsely claim Xinjiang replacing Chinese language with the Uyghurs' mother language, so to cut their cultural bonds, exterminate the cultural traditions. Actually, people of all ethnic groups in Xinjiang enjoy the right to use their own standard written language. In the primary school of Xinjiang, we set up Kazakh, Uyghur, Kyrgyz, Mongolia, and Xibo and where Mukam art, Kirkers, epic poetry Manas has been listed into the intangible cultural heritage by the UNESCO. And there are other intangible cultural heritage being listed with 83 national level and 315 autonomous regional level. And culture of all ethnic groups get prosper and blossom and also be protected and inherited in the garden of culture. They also falsely claim that Xinjiang suppresses Muslims and their freedom of religious belief. Actually, in Xinjiang, whether believers or non-believers, they will equal equal rights in terms of politics, economics, and social and culture. Whether you believe or not believe a religion is your own choices. No citizen will be discriminated against because believing or not believing in a religion or be treated unfairly. A Muslim of all ethnic groups can conduct normal religious activities in mosques and their own homes. This is all according to their own will and be protected by law. They falsely claim that Xinjiang forced ethnic minority students to boarding school, separating children from their family. Actually, Xinjiang has a vast region and town got a very large distance. And some parents, they will pick up the children each day with a very big burden. To solve this difficulty, recently, we have reasonably planned a boarding school, and all the tuition fees and funds will be taken by the government. Whether to send their children to boarding school is their own choice. The boarding school students is totally similar with other school students. They have free access to tuition fees and textbooks fees. And rural student in boarding school will also get a subsidized fund from the government. A student from primary school will get a subsidized of 1,250 yuan, while junior school student will get a subsidized amounts to 1,500 yuan, reducing their economic burdens effectively. They forcefully claim that Xinjiang get forced sterilization. Uyghur people's population growth has been decreased. Actually, for a long time, the Chinese population policy and law provide preferential policies to ethnic minorities, including Uyghur people. In 2010 to 2018, the Uyghur population added 1.5469 million, up 25.04%, which grew faster than the region's overall population growth rates, that is 30.99%, but also higher than the 22.14%, the growth rate of ethnic minorities, and even far higher than the growth rate of the Han ethnic group in Xinjiang, which is 2%. From these statistics, there's no thing such as forced sterilization. What is more ridiculous, the US and Europe Council, based on those fabrications and lies, imposed sanctions on Xinjiang-related organization and companies. It is total hegemonic logic. For me, this so-called sanction is nothing but a piece of waste paper. Now, people of all ethnic groups in Xinjiang will safeguard national sovereignty, national security, and ethnic unity will be resolute determination. Any external forces in an attempt to disrupt Xinjiang and contain China's development are doomed to fail. I have to point out that some country who proclaim themselves to be judge of human rights, finger-pointing Xinjiang, and they have an own ignoble record of human rights and reflect their own problems of human rights. As you know, during the 400 years of transatlantic slave trade, the colonists have already trafficked 12 million people to America, which caused more than 10 million people died in the process. And also, the United States got a systematic genocide and slaughter for Indian people, which result in the people of India population has been decreased to 250,000 from 5 million people in 1492. The German colonial army from 1904 to 1908 has slaughtered more than 1,000 of aboriginals, including 3/4 of the Haloro people and over 1/2 of the Nama people. United Nations Economic and Social Council Commission regard this as the first genocide in the 20th century. In the Second World War, the German Nazi slaughtered more than 6 million June people, including 1 million children. The Canadian government in the 1970s, they regarded cultural assimilation as their official agenda, spreading that extermination of Indian people should be started from their children and impose genocide of culture to the aboriginals. History have been proved that these countries does not deserve to be the teacher of human rights. The smear to Xinjiang is just all the crimes they've committed. Now, in the international world, more and more people with insight have these through the United States and other Western countries, anti-China forces, fabricated lies. Recently, the French reporter Maxime Vives published the book Uyghurs to put an end to fake news. See that the Western countries report to Xinjiang Uyghur has no sense of truth in it. And also, the Council of the United States Departments said that there's no hint of evidence that Xinjiang has committed genocide. The United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network President Fidri has once published that United States accusation of Xinjiang's genocide is so rash and irresponsible and is baseless. United Nations High Commissioner Human Rights expert Zayas and a renowned international law professor in Princeton University, Fark, has published in the independent US website Counterpunch an article titled Reflections on the Genocide as Ultimate Crime, saying that US allegation of genocide in Xinjiang was motivated by ideological and posturing and was supported by even hints of evidence. The Fyløen city of Norway, a former mayor, Wistrup, and the Transnational Foundation of Peace and Future Research, TFF, based in Sweden, released a feature report to debunk the United States report in terms of objectivity, authenticity, and accuracy. We can see that the United States and other anti-China forces groundless accusation to China go against the will of the people and will be nailed on pillow of shame. They are saying China that is seeing is believing. We hope that we welcome you to visit Xinjiang and listen and visit Xinjiang to listen to the people of all ethnic groups' words and to witness Xinjiang that's totally different from the Western and the US anti-China forces. Thank you very much.